You're listening to the Be So Good podcast with Colin Pearce. Colin says you are 10 times better than you think. So why not be so good that they simply can't ignore you? Here's your host, Colin Pearce.
The feedback from the interview with Jerry Crockford on this podcast has been terrific. Jerry Crockford, the owner with his wife Sandy of Crockford Carlisle in Brisbane, who are business consultants. I'll get him to tell us what he is, marketing consultant, marketing advisor, I suppose. You could tell that from the last interview when he talked about all the phases and the funnels, and he talked about how we can do much better if we work out who our avatar is. Anyway, I've got him to talk today about good copy, whether you're sending a pamphlet or a brochure or writing an email or putting stuff on your website. It's all very important that you get it right and focus on you. He also referred to the rule of 7 last time, so I'm going to get him to talk about the rule of 7 in some detail. So why don't we start with that, the rule of 7. Here's Jerry Crockford.
Hello. That's a heck of an introduction, but I will do my best to live up to the excitement of here's Jerry Crockford. Rule of 7. It's an interesting thing. This is not rocket science, and yet it's really, really, really powerful. If we lived in a world where people woke up in the morning, thought about whatever it is you're selling, your product or service, leapt out of bed and rushed over to buy one, that would be great. But they don't do that. They take time to get to the point where they're ready to take action. And if you think about it, there are any number of distractions between that initial thought to the point of actually spending the money. So the rule of 7 says, if you have a target market that you want to do business with and you want to market to those people, you should think long-term and plan, and I'm pulling these figures carefully researched out of the air to say, rule of 7 says, connect with them 7 times over an 18-month period. And when I say carefully researched, pulled out of the air, that will vary depending on how quick the buying journey is for your product. So if you were selling emergency hot water system repairs, then it's no good marketing to someone 7 times over an 18 months period, because if their hot water system's gone belly up, they want it fixed as quick as they can, particularly if they live in a southern cold part of Australia. But if you were selling something like, I don't know, computer repairs or computer maintenance maybe, or dental beauty smile fix-up work as a dentist or something, then having that longer term connection with people can be very, very profitable. So putting it into practical terms, you wouldn't remember this, Colin, but years ago, they used to have newspapers, and people would sometimes come to me and they'd say, I want to run a full page. I want to dominate the market. I want to run a full page in the next paper, all right? And I go, yeah, what's that going to cost you? Oh, it's only $7,000. Okay, well, what's your marketing budget? Well, it's $8,000. So, right, so you're going to sink your entire marketing budget.
You've met one of my brothers-in-law.
You're going to sink your entire marketing budget into this one page. Here's what I would suggest you do. Let's put a quarter page ad in, and let's run it 7 weeks running. All right? So we're tapping the audience again and again and again and again. Now, that would also apply with direct mail. If somebody was going to do letterbox flyers, if they're going to do 7,000 letterbox flyers, I'll be saying, yeah, why don't we do 1,000 and then wait 3 or 4 weeks and go back to that 1,000 again and do it again, the same people, and then do it again and do it again, because we all live and spend a great deal of time living on a place I call one day I'll. One day I'll do this, one day I'll do that, one day I'll do the other. So what happens is people get your exciting flyer out of the letterbox and they stick it on the fridge under the magnet, and there it sits, and then it's all very well because one day I'll do that. I'll go to that restaurant, but then the council rates notice arrives and goes on that magnet, and a note from school about the school concert arrives and goes under that magnet, and something else goes in. Pretty soon the magnet's sagging, so you have the magnet auditing session where you go and throw it all in the bin, and you never did get to go to that restaurant. So the restaurant owner, if he was smart, would have been in your letterbox again and again and again.
This
So like I said,
of something that I heard at a direct mail symposium run by a very clever American direct mail specialist long before the internet replaced direct mail. Remember the old direct mail with the Reader's Digest, and you had 2 1-cent coins, and if you peeled one off and put it on the back page, all that sort of stuff. It was quite a science to making direct mail happen. He talked about test mailing.
yes.
And the idea of test mailing was to lose money in small amounts. You could find out if your mail was any good, and if it wasn't, didn't get any response, you gave it up. And I think you're on the same sort of mindset that you send 1,000 rather than 7,000 is a bit on the same side of the factory, really, isn't it? It's a smaller test, but it's also the beginning of a repeat process.
Yeah, it's a repeat process. It does. It's whacking people on the back of the head several times over time to get them to do something. Let's build on that a bit. You just said, people said, well, this didn't work or that didn't work.
Yeah.
So that's a big elephant. It didn't work. Let's try and break the elephant down into bite-sized lumps to find out where the problem is. It's going to be one of 3 things. If you can imagine a camera tripod, right? And if you took any one of those 3 legs away, it'll fall over.
Yes.
So with the marketing message, there's 3 legs to the tripod. They are, have I got the right target audience? Is my creative right? The way it presents on the page or on the on the internet, on the website page or on the direct mail piece or on the ad or wherever.
Or the pick-up brochure off the counter.
Wherever. And the last thing is, what is my offer? Is it right? Now, why it's important to break it in those 3 things, because I've had endless people have also come to me and said, I've tried Google ads and it doesn't work, right? Or I've tried a newspaper ad and it doesn't work. Well, let's have a look. Let's break down the elephant. So let me give you some examples. You could have a perfectly good
those points
offer.
again. Before you go on, go through the 3 points again. We'll write them down.
Target market. Am I talking to the right people?
Yep.
Have I got the right creative? Is the copy and content right?
Yes.
And is the offer right?
Okay.
So let's unpack each of those with some examples. Let's say you were selling car parts, hypothetically. You could have a really good message about car parts and a really good offer with free delivery. But if you advertise that in, say, Woman's Weekly magazine, you're probably not going to sell that many car parts because that's not where your target market is.
Not to say that women are incapable of putting parts on cars, we hasten to add, but generally speaking, that is not a target-rich environment for this particular product.
That's right. So you could say our advertising doesn't work. Well, no. Or you could say the Women's Weekly doesn't work. No, Women's Weekly could work just fine, provided you've got the right product that aligns with that. So let's go again. You could have that ad running in a magazine aimed at car enthusiasts, and you could have it well written, but you could have a lousy offer. So it still won't work.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can have it in that motoring enthusiast magazine with a really good offer, but badly presented and badly written, and it still won't work. So you've got to have all 3, the right target market, the right creative, and the right offer. Now, this applies online. So if we look at Google ads, the first thing is your target market is going to be selected by the keywords that you're using to pop your ad up. So I've just been talking to for example, a home builder that's building modular homes down in Sydney, and he's wondering why he's not getting many nibbles on his Google ads. Is because he's got the wrong keywords. He's not coming up for the people who are searching for what he's looking for, what he's offering.
Right.
So he's target marketed. He can have the best website in the world. He can have the best offer in the world, but if he isn't going to get people to the website in the first place, then it's not going to work. So
this is where you engage your French lady in Paris who finds the right keywords, doesn't she?
That's right.
She's the SEO expert.
She is. She worked here.
Quickly tell us that story.
She worked here in Brisbane, in our office here in Brisbane with our coders and designers and what have you. And her husband worked for a large international company, and that's how they came to be in Australia. She's very smart. She speaks Spanish. She was born in Argentina, but she speaks French so she can fight with her husband, and she speaks English so she can do Google Ads research. And so she worked in her office, and then they got transferred back to France. And she came in with tears in her eyes saying she had to leave. And Sandy and I said, well, no, we really love having you on our team. So this is like Hotel California. You can check out any time, but you can never leave. And
Fantastic.
so that's 9 years now. They're coming up 10 years.
I mentioned that because next time we talk, I want you to talk about managing a remote team, which started 9 years ago with her. What's her name? Gabriella. And I've been fascinated with that process. Now, I've taken you off the subject. What were you talking about?
Right. So she would...
AdWords, yes.
Yeah. Google Ads. Yeah, we do keyword research to work out what people are searching for. It's not just for Google Ads, it's for SEO as well. You've got to have an SEO strategy. And the first thing you want to think about is what is it that your target market are searching for? And just referring back to our previous podcast, we've got to think about what they're searching for at the awareness stage of the buyer's journey, when they're just figuring out that they've got a problem that they need to solve. At the consideration stage, when they're considering their options. Do I want one of these? Oh, one of those. Is that what I want? Right. And then at the final stage, so you've got to think about the keywords for all those to get your right target market. So that's one level of our pipeline. Then you've got to have the content right for that target market so that it aligns with their expectations. I'm learning about this. Oh, this is the article that I want.
Yes.
Right. And then it's got to be presented well. So if it's a web page, is it clean? Can people find things easily? Don't make me think. That's the golden rule with web page design. Don't hide the phone number down the bottom left because people are used to seeing it up the top right corner. It's like if you stand on a street corner, you expect there to be a letterbox over there, a bus stop over there. Where am I? Oh, the street sign will be just there. And you know where stuff is, and there'll be a rubbish tin over there. Web page design is the same. You've got to make it really clear and really simple so people don't have to think about where to click.
Yeah,
I'm probably getting off on a tangent, but it's a reasonably important tangent.
No, it is. You keep coming back to that because it's something you've moved to over the years. Once upon a time, you were copy only driven. Let's get the copy right, and gradually you yourself have developed in your own business where you've learned about the avatar. You've got to be sending the copy to the right person, and so your target market's got to be right. And you've moved into valuing the offer as well. Target, creative, and offer. Can we do a little bit more about copy, about creative? Because pretty well everybody is sending emails.
Hello, Bob. Just wanted to tell you about our new model. It's really good. It's big, it's round, German designed.
So with email, do you want to talk about email a bit?
Yeah.
Why are you interrupting me? That's the first thing you've got to think.
Why are you what? Sorry?
Why are you interrupting me? And why should I read this email?
Well, I'm interrupting you because I want to sell you something.
Yeah, that's
I'm desperate. I have a great need to sell this because I've got quotas to meet. So bad luck about you getting interrupted.
That's right. Click, goodbye, delete, gone. So that's the first thing. It's not about you and what you want to sell. It's got to be about me and my miserable life and how you can improve it. All right. So I'm interrupting you because I've got this that will help you do that. Oh, I will now read this to learn out how I can do that. So that's the first thing with email. Think about why you're interrupting this person and get the value proposition up early in the piece.
In the early days, we used to get a bit impudent, me more than you, I think, and we would tell the person what they were thinking, what they were feeling. And that's a bit outrageous. We've got to ask them if that's how they're feeling. But you can hardly say, do you feel stupid because you've got black glasses on a bald head? Yeah, of course you do. I was a bit at the back. You can't start by kicking the beehive over, can you?
Maybe.
Oh, go on then.
I wouldn't be totally allergic to do it, to not kicking over the beehive. I mean, do you know where Noah kept the bees on the ark?
No.
They're in the archives.
Saw a bald guy the other day with a big comb in his pocket, and I said, "What are you doing with that?" And he says, "I just can't part with it."
There you go. So there's something to be said sometimes of putting a stone in someone's shoe a bit.
Ah, okay.
And we were talking about, value propositions and brand promises and stuff before, and the stone, like I do that on our website. When people come to Crockford Carlisle's website, right there on the homepage, it says we help business owners and sales managers who are serious about growth, but are frustrated that they spent time, money and effort on their website, and yet it still doesn't produce the traffic and qualified leads that they're looking for. Well, that to me is putting a stone in a person's shoe, because it's acknowledging that's talking right to my market. Because if somebody's got a website that's producing more leads than they can cope with, their sales people are up to the gills in work, and they're on a constant growth path, then they probably don't need the likes of us to help them. So if on your email that you're sending out, if you've got look at you help people to tell stories so they can communicate. You help people, so one of your avatars, I imagine, is what, a board chairman person or a manager who wants to communicate to their team. Is that one of your
one of the managers wants to communicate to his team, her team, or the same person needs to get a message over to their board of directors. And there's always a bit of a standoff between executive and oversight. So they need to get that message clear.
So if you'd narrowed your list down to those guys and girls, then it wouldn't maybe hurt to gently kick the hive over at the beginning of your email. I'm writing to you because I'm going to help you. I'll help you not to be standing in front of a boardroom and frustrated that you've got an important message that can make a significant difference for the direction of the company, and they aren't understanding what you're saying. They don't get it. They won't act on it. And as a result, opportunity is lost.
So we did, following that advice, we did make a couple of short 10, 20-second grabs which say, "G'day, look, if you're frightened that you're as boring as bat manure when you stand up to talk, you're probably right. I've got a solution for that. Give me a call." So that's a stone in the shoe deal, isn't it?
It is. And it's over the hive or whatever, but it doesn't, I don't think that's a bad thing to do necessarily. So don't shy away from that. So I don't know. So does that help with that? So with the other email was, why you're interrupting me?
Yes.
What am I going to get from it? Why interrupt me? What's the problem you're going to solve for me? It's people only ever buy anything off anybody for one of two reasons. They either perceive that you can solve a problem for them, or you can fulfill a dream for them. That's it, right? Problem is, I never get any holidays. I don't know where to go for my holidays, blah, blah, blah. Well, as a travel agent, you can help with that. Dream is, I really want to get to, well, I can't go overseas now, but I want to go to Thargomindah. Then the travel agent can help me do that, or Boguntungan or Yakandanda or one of those places. Except you can't even go to Yakandanda. To cut a long story short, with emails, get to the point, tell me why you're interacting me, get to the key benefit. And at the end of it, make sure you offer people a call to action, a next step.
What's wrong with this letter? Okay, call to action. Come back to that. What's wrong with this letter? Hello, dear householder. Allow me to introduce myself. I have just taken up the dealership of the Thargomindah Real Estate Company, and we are interested in finding houses for sale. You've lost me in the first sentence.
Yeah.
I want you to, and everybody watching and listening knows that my favourite saying, ad infinitum, is talk about me, the nicest guy in the world, the centre of the universe, the only person I think about from dawn till dusk. How about rewriting that letter for the Thargomindah Real Estate Company?
Yes, well, you have to
allow me to introduce myself.
Yeah, so who's your avatar? It's probably going to people who want to sell a house, because I know real estate agents always have the problem of but I understand from working with real estate agents over the years, getting stock is the hard part. Selling it is not so hard, right? So let's assume if the Thargomindah new real estate agent in Thargomindah was going to send out that little email or that letter, he'd be going something like, and this is off the top of my head and not prepared, so I might muck it up, but it's going to be something like, "Hello, I wanted to get in touch because I know in Thargomindah there are people who have beautiful homes that have a great deal of value, but they're disappointed because they don't fetch the price that they should when it comes time to sell them. Hello, I want to introduce myself. My job is to help people to get better price for their home, to show them how to present it how to market it, and how to find that one person that they need, which is the buyer. And so it goes. So that's talking to me about my problem and not about him and who he is.
Yes, and it's not so direct as to be insulting, but it is direct enough to be arresting and to say, I think he's interested in me, Dale.
He understands my problem.
A house.
Yeah, he understands my problem. So I'll read what he's got to say.
Good on you. Hey, you've done beautifully today. Is there such a thing as a differentiation between a warm market, a cool market, and a cold market? Would you write the same piece of copy or email or website guff to each group? Warm market, cool market, cold market.
I'm going to go warm, cool, cold to the buyer's journey of awareness, consideration, decision. Cold is at awareness stage when they're just figuring out their problem. Cool is where they're figuring out, I do have this problem. I want to do something about it. I'm going to consider this. And then warm is when they're getting close now to being wanting to talk to a salesperson.
And I'm trying to see if I can answer that question myself. So approaching a cold market would be the web copy, the general web copy, or a general piece of brochure copy, and inviting what you said, a call to action. Call us, tear off this penny and put it in the back of the envelope, drop into our office, call to action. Once they respond, then a piece of email, I dare say, or a quiz or something of that nature goes out to the respondent and says, yeah, you've warmed up a little bit. Let's see if we can warm you up again. Ask for this. Are you with me?
Yep, getting there. Yep.
And you did this all the time, so you take over now.
Thanks. So now we get into the world of what we call progressive profiling and marketing automation. So progressive profiling is you don't know when someone comes to your website, whether they're cold, warm, hot, whether they're at the awareness stage, a consideration stage, whether they're close to deciding. You don't know diddly squat about them. And it's pretty hard to find that information out if you ask them it all in one go, right? Because that would mean a form asking age, name, serial number, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So you can use technology to do what's called progressive profiling on a website. So it works like this. Somebody comes to a website, let's say that they're looking for a retirement village, somewhere to live, right? Yes. So we have some content on there about the retirement village, and about the houses that are for sale, and all, and the different activities in the place, and the social interaction and health benefits of living with a bunch of folks who blah 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 blah.
And how to decide whether you're ready for retirement, whether to ask the family, what will happen to your investments, all stuff that will attract the interested party.
So then we will offer them on that website. They're not ready to talk to a salesperson yet, but let's offer them something. It might be a little ebook about 15 things to look for in a retirement village, the traps and trips to watch out for when considering where to live.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Now, when they go to download that, we'll have a little form there that asks them some basic information. It might be first name, last name, email. And by the way, are you interested in looking for yourself or for a loved one? Okay, and are you interested in care? Now, when they download, so now we know about that person, first name, last name, email, whether looking for themselves or for a loved one, and whether they're interested in care, right? So then we've now got their email address. So using marketing automation, we would then send them a follow-up email the next day. Says, thank you for downloading our little guide about the traps to watch out for, blah, 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 blah.
We just went from freezing to cool.
Correct. So we'd leave it go then maybe 7 or 10 days. And then they get another email that says, hello, Mrs. Fudpacker. I want to thank you again for downloading our little ebook the other day. I hope you found it useful. I noticed when that you downloaded it, you indicated you were looking for a loved one. So it probably means that you're looking for mum and dad and trying to get some information for them. we've got a handy little document which is called How to Have the Conversation with Mum and Dad about when they should move. Because over and over again, we hear from our residents, they say, I should have done this years ago. I've been struggling with mowing the lawn. I've been struggling with changing a light bulb. And I've moved into this place. Oh, I wish I'd done it earlier. So you might want to download this little guide to get that information.
Blah, blah, blah.
And when they go to download that guide with the technology you can use today, with that progressive profiling, it won't ask them the same questions. It remembers that and it'll now ask them another question to build the profile. This time we might say, here's your guide. And by the way, what hobbies are your mum is it for your mum or your dad, and what hobbies they're interested in?
And this is about the third interaction. It sounds like a rule of 7 could apply to all of this.
Absolutely. And the magic is, it's the rule of 7. It's that repeated contact. But each time you're coming back, you've acknowledged that you understand a little bit more about that person, and let me give you something else that you need. Whereas if they told them it was for themselves, we won't be talking about their mum and dad. We'll be talking about themselves.
Got it.
If they said they're interested in care, then we'll say, would you like some information about the care arrangements that we have at our retirement village? If they've said, no, I'm not interested in care because I'm fit and lively and I don't want to, don't know about that, then great, we'll send them information about why jogging 5 kilometres a day when you're 60 is beneficial, or 70 or whatever.
All right.
And so it goes. So that's getting real smart now. The rule of 7 of the repeated contact, but talking to me about me and what my problems are and my goals. Yeah.
Stunning. Hey, thanks for closing the loop on rule of 7 and good copy and target, creative, offer, all very powerful stuff. This is Jerry Crockford from Crockford Carlisle right there in Brisbane. c-c.com.au will get you in touch with the company. We'll get you in touch with Jerry and his designers, his creatives, his copywriters, and his French SEO word finder will get into gear for you and help you with the rule of 7, your target, your creative, and your offer. Jerry, you're brilliant. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Pleasure. Hope it was helpful. Thanks.
You've been listening to Be So Good with Colin Pearce. Please share the link with someone who needs to be reminded that they are 10 times better than they think. For more episodes, check out the playlist at colinpearce.com/podcast. And don't forget to drop a review in iTunes. It really does make a difference.